Margot Bra and Namaste, everyone. Please stand and sing with us.
If God is for us, who can be against us? Everybody say amen. If God is for us, who can be against us? Everybody say amen. Everybody say amen. There's not anything God can't work out. Everybody say amen. 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 Everybody say amen. Amen. Everybody say amen. 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 Everybody say amen. 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 Everybody say amen.
Good morning, everyone, and namaste to you. Welcome to Unity of Music City, a place of authentic transformation. I have good news for you today. Authentic transformation is happening around the world. Since the last time I saw you, I've been here. Yes, I was in India. I missed you all desperately, desperately. But I have stood at the Taj Mahal. And I have to say, I would trade seeing you for 2 weeks in a row to stand at the Taj Mahal. No offense. It's just the way it works. I got to meet the beautiful people of India. The beautiful, beautiful people of India. And one of the things that I realized is that so much of my spirituality, I know Reverend D's spirituality and many of you, it has deep, deep roots. It is not new thought. It is ancient, ancient thought. And I was immersed in it. I have to tell you, just like you've heard, pop that up there, yes, cows do walk across the street in India. They are, and the dogs and the camels and the oxen and anything that wants to is given just as much honor and freedom to move about as he or she sees fit. I also want you to know they have a youth program. I was standing about 5 feet away from that monkey. Apparently, monkeys want you to stand 6 feet away. Getting a little too close to the banana there. What was lovely about that, however, is that those bananas were given to the monkey by our guide. We saw lots of street dogs. And I was telling Judy this morning that we Americans look at a street dog and we think abandonment and neglect. Indians look at a street dog and say, there's a free creature who's autonomous and able to move about as he or she sees fit as well. A man feeding street dogs outside the temple, one of our students said, oh, look at that man feeding the dogs. And our guide said, oh, no, he's making his offering. And what a beautiful, beautiful energy to be in for the week. Here's the last one there. The children were amazing. I've talked to Reverend D. I just wanted to share a few of those with you this morning. We're going to look at a time when maybe we can, in an evening, I can show you lots of pictures and talk about the amazing India, a place that has a lot of my heart. So, back to business. We got a few things going on today. This afternoon, Grandmother Silver Star is going to be here. I know Reverend D and several people have spent the weekend with her this weekend, and transformation happens here, not just in India. So Grandmother Silver Star will be here from 1 to 4:30 this afternoon. See Becky or Reverend D or any folks if you want to get some more information about that. It's just a reminder to fill out and email back your membership renewals. There's some hard copy forms on the membership table in the back of the sanctuary. There is a membership table in the back of the sanctuary, by the way. Yes. And I've had several people say, you should announce that because nobody knows it's there. There is a large white sign that says new member information. And underneath that is a table that holds that information. So please fill out and email back your membership renewals. Hey, our special focus this month, speaking of street dogs, is the Old Friends Senior Dog Sanctuary. We don't quite have the social structure to allow dogs to roam around like they do in India and be taken care of. So we take care of them in a different way, and that's okay. So the Old Friends Senior Dog Sanctuary is our special focus. There's a wish list posted by the entrance out there, so take a look at it if you feel so inclined to make your offering. Stand up and sing with us again. Wanna? I have heard that we have people here who will go unnamed who have never heard this song. So for those of you 100 years old like I am, sing along.
About love between my brothers and my sisters all over this land.
In the process of talking about that this morning, we discovered that there are many, many different hammer songs in the world. And then we got onto the MC Hammer conversation. It is a very, very spiritual time in here when we are getting ready for service. We've got some upcoming events that I'm going to run through pretty quickly. We'll talk about them more next week. You can also pick up a bulletin at the back on your way out. On Thursday, March 21st, we have on Thursday, March 28th, we have a mediumship and intuitive development circle with Susie Wright. And then coming up, we have Healing Arts Spring Equinox Service Thursday, March 21st. That's coming up this week, right? So see Becky about that. That one needs a little bit more attention. And then coming up, we have a Love the Land Day on March 30th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. See Tom Willett. Is Tom here? There he is, right there. For information about that, but put it on your calendar. And then we've got a movie showing coming up, Won't You Be My Neighbor? That's my guru. Yes, Mr. Rogers. So put that on your calendar, March 31st, to stick around and see that. And then Becky's got a Beliefs 101 class starting up again April 2nd. So put that on your calendar. Pick up a bulletin, and we'll talk about these things again next week. Lunch Bunch, of course, Wednesdays at 11:30 in the Namaste Cafe. And then we started our new class this past Wednesday evening, the Muji class. The book is Vaster Than Sky, Greater Than Space. And I have to say, I was changed and transformed and moved by the class. What an amazing experience to have a group of people all focused on raising their own awareness of their divine nature. That in and of itself will change you. So please plan on coming out and joining us this Wednesday, 7 o'clock, for a Muji class. And I am so completely still in Indian time that I forgot to light this. But I'll do it now. Namaste.
Welcome back, Deb. We missed you. Today's sacred reading, March 17th. Today, across the earth, there are many people focusing their attention upon material things. Just watch a few commercials on television, and you get the picture of focus. Where shall we eat? Where shall I buy these new clothes? Where shall I live? What if we took time to do a reset breath and began to do life a different way? So, the affirmation, I am becoming a co-creator with Spirit. Together, I am becoming a co-creator with Spirit. I remember who I am by resetting my breath and bringing my attention into this now moment. I then wake up to the fact that my presence is essential to this place and this time. As I move out into my day, I begin to express the very energy of Spirit with every step I take. There is a universal principle that states, as above, so below. This is the universal law of symmetry. To the extent that I am willing to ground my beingness into Mother Earth and to place my focus on the heavens, then and only then can I be in the flow of life in the way that the Creator desires. As above, so below. The space between is creation manifestation. I am becoming a co-creator with Spirit. And from Psalm 121:1, I lift my eyes to the hills, from whence cometh my help.
So as we prepare for this moment, let's do another reset breath. Exhale. Begin breathing slowly and balancing the breath that is coming in. And as your feet are planted on the ground, feel your connection to Mother Earth. Know that you are one with Mother Earth and with all the beings that live and move and breathe on Mother Earth. And then as you are fully connected to Mother Earth, draw your attention to Father Sky, knowing that you are fully connected to everything that is above us. And so your heart is right in the center of all that is. Mother Earth and Father Sky. And so as you put your attention now on your heart space, in this now moment, remembering your divinity, waking up to the purpose that I am essential in this now moment, and I am co-creating in this now moment with Spirit. In the silence. In the silence. I am becoming a co-creator with Spirit. All it really takes is for me to remember who I am and to firmly plant my feet on the earth and to raise my attention to the heavens and then to draw the energy of the earth and the heavens together at my heart center. I am love. I am peace. I am joy. I am life.
Patrick's Day, I think it's only fair that Kenny Malone gives us an entree. You've got to tell him what you told me this morning. Okay? Okay.
What's
Wait a minute, we need a mic.
What's Irish and stays outside all year long? Patio furniture.
That's why we don't keep a mic over there.
That's the one, Mama. All right. This is a song that everybody knows, and I want you to join me on the choruses on this, because of all of the songs. Growing up, I've got to give you a little history. My family basically are Irish, and my mom taught me all of these Irish songs from the time I was a kidlet. And this is one that we always sang every time we got together, whether it was St. Patty's Day or otherwise. And so this is, and what I did not know up until a couple years ago, that it actually had a second verse. And I learned that one. All right, so here we are. This is an Irish lullaby. Over in Killarney, many years ago, me mother sang a song to me in tones so sweet and low. Just a simple little ditty in her good old Irish way. And I'd give the world if she could sing that song to me this day. Here we go now. Now don't you cry. That's an Irish lullaby. Oft in dreams I wander to that pot again. I feel her arms a-hugging me as when she held me then. I hear her voice a-humming to me as in days of yore, as she used to rock me fast asleep outside the cabin door. Hush, now don't you cry.
That is definitely an Irish tenor. Yes, it is. So it's very apropos that he was here this morning and singing this, because today's lesson is about life and melding cultures. Have you noticed in Nashville all the different cultures that are here? Which is very exciting and sometimes a little daunting on how to meld everybody together. So he just sang a song, and you know I love to give us time to talk to each other. I want you to talk to the person beside you or close to you, if you don't have someone right beside you, about, has anyone ever sang a lullaby to you, or have you ever sang a lullaby to someone else? Share for a moment. Most of you probably know that I sang lullabies every night to my little boys. And when Judy and I started dating, Austin was 18 months old or something. And I didn't even realize she was doing it one night. And I had this whole routine that we went through. We read Night, Night, Moon. We sang the Barney song. We did blah, 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 blah. And then I laid down with them in the bed between the two of them, because they had bunk beds, but we did this on one bed, and then Austin, as the monkey, went to the top. And I sang a song called I Love You Forever. I'd like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. And then they would sing back to me, as long as I'm living, my mommy you'll be. And one night I walked down the stairs, and Judy was sitting on the stairs crying. And I said, what is going on? She said, I've never heard anything like that. But I want to share with you, if you've never had somebody sing a lullaby to you. My mother did not. My grandmother did. Every time I spent time with her, she would hold me. I remember being a little bitty girl out on the front porch in the summertime when it was so hot. Remember, before air conditioning? And she would sit on this glider, and she would sing lullabies to me at night till I could kind of get sleepy, because she knew if I didn't get sleepy, I'd be up rummaging around the house all night. But it's such an amazing thing. And the reason I wanted Michael to sing that song first is because that is a thing that all cultures do. They may all do it differently, but mommies have a way of getting their babies to sleep. Some kids are harder than others to get to sleep. But rocking and singing, or whatever we do. And so I don't know if you know that the word culture comes from the Latin word that is cultura, which means to care for, to cultivate, to help grow. And so when I think about all the different cultures just that are in Nashville, Tennessee, what are we doing to help them all grow, to cultivate them? And hear me, I don't want to get political with you. But sometimes we in the United States have a thing that we want to integrate everybody and we want everybody to be the same. And what I noticed when I was teaching for metro schools is sometimes those students would begin to lose their culture trying to assimilate into the United States culture. Does that make sense? And it's more than a language. It's a way they dress. It's the foods they eat. We used to get children from over in India, and they would come in and they would get diarrhea, but they would, eating our nasty food in the cafeteria at lunch, okay? So those are things to think about when we think about working with people that are different than us. I think it's very apropos that we're talking about all this before we get ready to jump into Nashville Chooses Peace. That's another reason we're watching the movie, Would You Be My Neighbor, or Who Is My Neighbor? Because we're going to have people that may not look like us. They may not wear the same kind of clothes we do. They may not eat the same kind of foods we eat. And how do we help them, cultivate them, care for them? Does that make sense? So this is a part of our conscious evolution that we're doing here on this planet. I'm not sure that every place is doing it intentionally. Can you hear that? Sometimes we're just throwing a bunch of people into a pot and stirring it up and hoping for the best. You know what I mean? It's like, here, let's just shove all these kids. I think about metro schools. Let's just shove all these young'uns in a classroom together and pray that the teacher can survive when they're 5 years old and over half of them don't even speak English. Can you really think about that? What are we doing in our culture today to help people who may be a little different than us feel more comfortable? Cultivate that. There is a process of evolving consciousness. That's what we're doing. That's, Grandmother Silverstar used the term sneak up. I loved it because I thought I do that all the time with this spiritual community. You all just don't realize it. I've been sneaking up on you since January with this process of spiritual evolution. You'll get pieces and parts of it or whatever works for you, but there's 7 points of spiritual evolution, and we're going through them. 7 days of creation, the creative process. The first one is that your consciousness is always evolving. If you were here in January, you heard me talk about the process that my consciousness is going to evolve differently than Nikki's because we've had different experiences. Every one of us could sit in here and talk and share about all of our different experiences, and the reason we act and are showing up differently is because we have evolved differently than someone else. But it's love's force, which is the second part, that is pulling you forward, unless you let it be something else. Can you hear that? That's where you really know where your true purpose is. But in the United States, we come from here. And sometimes this thing that is pulling me forward, I try to push it aside because I think I need to come from here. Breathe, it's all okay. Because we're learning. One of the other things I did with you in meditation, I'm going to show you in the 3D world, is what I was talking about in the meditation. Your feet are firmly planted on the ground. You're connected to Mother Earth. You have set your sights on the heavens. And when you've got fully both of those, you pull together to your heart space. Do that with me. And kind of cock your hand up just a little bit right here, like that. You're going up to the heavens. And then when you're ready, you breathe and you bring it to your heart space. And from there is creation, manifestation, who you are in the world. Is that not kind of cool? And so if you didn't do anything else every morning but to get up and go, okay. I say that to people sometimes when we've been doing a big, long meditation or a healing. Are you in your body? People go, I don't know. Like, no, you're not if you don't know. Stomp on the floor. Be in your body now. Mother Earth, Father Sky. Pull yourself together from your heart space and express who you are. That will change some of what you express just doing that, because it's love's force. But then comes the big kicker that some of you, I will have to tell you that last Sunday, there were more people holding their breath in here than have ever held their breath before through a whole lesson of about 35 to 40 minutes. I was like, breathe. And then every once in a while I would go, breathe. So I'm going to ask you again, how do we offer justice in our culture, in America, in Nashville, Tennessee, with so many different cultures? Does that make sense? I'm not sure that we're doing a very good job. Because what is really justice? We talked about that a little bit last week. I'm showing you this just because some of you were with me years and years ago when we studied spiral dynamics, which is another process of understanding. Grandmother Silverstar has her calendar, and she pulls it up like this, and it's this big spiral, and it spirals all the way up from one beginning of the year to the end of the year. And it reminded me of this. But when I am down at the bottom level of consciousness, it says instinctive. I'm just reacting to everything that happens. Does that make sense? And I may have risen my consciousness above that, but something goes on that triggers me. I'm right back there, acting sort of kind of like an animal, just reacting to something that has happened. So we'll talk more about that. But here's what we talked about last week. If you remember, I told you all the story of Micah. Micah is a minor prophet. The only reason he's considered a minor prophet is because his book is shorter. And that's those of us in this brain place that have decided that he's a minor prophet, okay? He was looking out into the world just like we do today and realizing that there was not any kind of fairness going on out in the world. Some people were being treated differently than others. Maybe because they had more money. Maybe because they had more education. Maybe because they were some big religious elite person. And he was talking to all of the people. Remember, prophets were not always loved by anybody because they were speaking truth that nobody wanted to hear. And he said, what does the law require of you? Justice, mercy, and humility, which we talked about last week. Justice is fairness coupled with love. Do you see fairness in our world today? Just think about that. Mercy. As my grandma would say, Lordy mercy. I use the analogy of what would Jesus do? There were laws of the day when he was alive that said if someone was caught in adultery, basically men could do whatever they wanted to do. I won't even go there. If a woman was caught in adultery, she was drug out of the bed. Well, the first thing I want to know is, how did you even know? What were you doing? Peeking in. Okay, but anyway, she was drug out of the bed and drug into the center square and stoned to death. Be a lot of dead people around here today, but anyway, I won't go there either. All of these people were circled around, ready to cast stones at her, and Jesus said, what? Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Now, I'm going to say something to you that some of you may have heard and some of you may not have heard. Jesus was not killed by the Jews. Jesus was killed by the political elite who wanted him to shut up. Can you hear that? They wanted him to shut up because he was messing with their laws. The reason he was messing with their laws is there was no justice and there was no mercy. And if you were on the wrong side of the law, so bad, so sad. So humility is not necessarily what you may think it is. It is that when I am in a situation and I don't know how to be fair, I don't figure it out here. Because we can't. I lift my eyes to the hills, from whence cometh my help. I don't have to do it by myself. The Christ within does it for me every time. But it's the Christ within that we don't want to listen to. Because I have the right to be pissed at you. I have the right to get back at you because of what you did to me. I'll suck the air out of the room again. And I'm talking to myself because I've done it myself. That's not mercy. That's not justice. Do unto others as what? Do you want somebody to do that to you? No. So breathe for a moment. This is what the scriptures say, what the law requires of us. Do justice, love mercy, walk humbly. Again, I will say, cover up justice, mercy, and humbly. And what do you see down the page? Do, love, walk. Do you? Because you are the essence of love. We sang it this morning coming out of meditation. What did we sing coming out of meditation? I am peace. I am. Are you? All day, every day? So have a conversation with the person sitting beside you of when it is the easiest for you to be peace, love, joy, and light. When it's the easiest. Go. I didn't ask you to share when it was the hardest because this doesn't have to be true confessions today. You know when it's the hardest. You know that. Sometimes we forget the good things. That's another one of those things that's stuck here. We in our Western society are thrilled with our brains. They're so wonderful. And sometimes we forget to reset and drop here and go, do love walk? What would that be like? How would that be different? How come it was different with this situation? What was different about it? What I can tell you is you were different. And so then figure out what that was for you. How was I different? Here's the affirmation we are using this month during the lessons. I'm going to say it once, and then I want you to say it with me. We are stepping humbly towards justice through loving acts of mercy. Say that with me. We are stepping humbly towards justice through loving acts of mercy. What would that look like? Where in your next week can you do loving acts of mercy? Who will you come upon that would benefit from that? And so the process that we did just a few minutes ago, I'm going to walk you through it in our language. What you were being taught was Native American. But we have a reset breath, which helps us remember who we are, helps us ground to the earth. That's this part right here. I'm here grounded in Mother Earth. I'm resetting my breath. I'm exhaling, getting rid of everything that is not me in this moment. Because I'm assuming you realize you walk through the day and you pick up all kinds of other people's stuff. And you get home at night and you go, I don't even know what that is. I'm just mad as hell and I don't know why. It may not even be yours. You may have picked it up from somebody else and carried it with you for the rest of the day. And so this is a good practice at nighttime. It's a good practice in the morning. It's a good practice in the middle of the day. Resetting your breath, remembering you are grounded to Mother Earth and you are one with everything and everybody, even that person that pissed you off. Sometimes I have to reset at least 35 times with a person like that. I know my mother probably wonders why I'm just huffing and puffing every time I'm in her house. It's like, okay, yes, I can do this. And you're going to remember this divinity that you have. Because when you connect to Mother Earth, yes, some of the first things we see with our eyes is that we are all different. We are. We all showed up a little different. We all look different. We all act different. We all have different skills and talents. And all of that is wonderful. And we're all one. But in our skills and talents, can you hear that you are essential to the planet because of the skills and talents you have? Because nobody else showed up just like you. Nobody. And so that's the next part of this. Do I remember that when I am seated with Mother Earth? Do I remember that I am essential because of what it is that is unique about me that I brought here right now, in this now moment? And then I do this part. Because I don't know about you, but sometimes when I'm sitting in this place and I'm really remembering, I get an idea. You could blotty, blotty, blotty. Sometimes the next thought is, that's going to be a lot of hard work. Do I really want to blotty, blotty, blotty? I'd rather sit here on this chair and blooty, blooty, blooty instead of blotty, blotty, blotty. How do I get centered in what is my message? That's probably the best spiritual information I can share with anybody at any time is, are you aware of the messages that are coming to you? Because it's very important. They're yours. And they're going to come through. Deb said in her class, people were talking about some people struggle with meditation. It doesn't matter if you meditate, but you got to get quiet. This has got to shut down. So whatever that is for you, you got to find a way for it to shut down. Whatever works. You want to know what works for me? Bathtub, water, candles, quiet. Nothing else. Nobody else. I couldn't do that when my boys were little. You can't ever take a bath when your children are babies because they're always in there with you, knocking on the door going, "Mama, mama, mama." They do grow up. That's a nice thing. Another place for me is outside in nature. I like to put I'm so thrilled the grass is turning green. I like to put my bare feet on the ground. But where do you get quiet? Where do you let all that stuff go? Because then and only then will your messages come through. They don't even have room to get in. Some of us in all our big all the time, there's a message, it just keeps trying and goes, well, finally, because this won't shut up. The reason it won't shut up is because you think you have to know how to do whatever it is that you're being told to do. Can you hear that? You don't have to know. The how is none of your business. I've had people fight with me about that in this church. But it is none of your business. If you know how to do it, it's not big enough yet. Can you hear that? We need people on this planet who are ready to step into their greatness. Not, okay, I can do this right here because I can do this from my cell phone and my jammies in my lounge chair. Yes, drinking my tea. Yes. What is it that's trying to come through? What is Spirit going, hello? And am I willing? So I'm going to show you a few quotes about justice and some people who've made a difference. And yes, just like Jesus, the master teacher, people wanted to shut him up also. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Can you hear that? My belief is that the purpose that's trying to get through all of our brains is something to make the world a better place. It's the way you're going to plant life and light and love and peace on this planet. What does that look like for you? And the reason you want to do that is because of this right here. Because you've looked out there and you've seen injustice. And you know that if somebody can be that nasty to that person, they can be that nasty to me. Or a whole group of other people. The Dalai Lama states that in the end, people's love for truth, justice, freedom, and democracy will triumph no matter what governments do. The human spirit will always prevail. Can you hear that? Yes, you can applaud. But that means we have to get up out of our rocking chairs, drinking our iced tea or whatever else we're drinking, and be. It's not necessarily about doing, it's about being who you are out in the world, and that will lead you from here to here, right to there. And you will be, do, love, walk. This person is Oscar Romero. I've tried to get different cultures because I want you to see that it's not just us here today, it's all different cultures that are talking about the same thing. This person was the 4th Archbishop of San Salvador, and his quote is, "You cannot reap what you have not sown." How are we going to reap love in our community if we've only sown hate? Can you hear that? So we have to let go of anything that we may think, I hear people say, well, hate's a really strong word, but I don't really like that person. Same difference. Same difference. How are we going to reap love if we only sow hate? The Baha'i community. All men and women have been created to carry forward an ever-advancing civilization, evolving towards wholeness and unity. Their message is very similar to ours. That we are evolving consciousness right here, right now, going towards wholeness, oneness, and unity. That's our goal, always. These are the 13 indigenous grandmothers. One of them is supposed to be coming to our Nashville Chooses Peace Festival. These are 13 indigenous grandmothers from all over the world. And their whole message is about everything you do in this moment, think about how it's going to affect 7 generations ahead of you. Now again, the first time I ever heard that, I went, how in the world? But I can say that out loud and set that intention. May everything that I do today be highest and best for 7 generations forward. But that's not just do today. Here's another thing I heard all weekend from Grandmother Silverstar. It's every thought I think. It's every word I speak. It's every emotion that I feel. Do you think that if I knew that every time I got pissed off, that went 7 generations forward, that I would keep getting pissed off? Probably not. It's work. But the other thing I want you to hear from me is that you came in to do this. Or you would have come in at a different time and already be gone. You came in to be who you are, and your essence is important right now, right today, on this planet for a reason. It may not be like anybody else's in this room. Only you know what that reason is. Grandmother Aggie, that's a younger picture of her, is the indigenous grandmother that is supposed to be coming to join us. And she is all about the waters. One of the things she says in her talks, and Chief Arville also says, is they never believed that we would have to be buying drinking water, but we are now. Why? What have we as a culture done to the waters? What have we allowed to happen to the waters? And how do we begin to shift that? This was a quote from last week. Each of us is put here in this time and this place to personally decide what? Oh, I don't want that responsibility. That's why you argue with this thing, this message that comes in. I want to be retired and go sit and watch things happen. That's what I thought I was going to do eventually, is go sit in my chair and drink something and sing to myself, pet a dog. You know what I mean? And Spirit keeps saying, no, no. Who you are is essential. Did you think the Creator would create necessary people in a time of such terrible danger. I said this last week. I know we don't usually talk in a negative way, but people, we are at the 11th hour. It's not 11:59, but we're at the 11th hour for our planet. Are you aware of that? We got to wake up. And I can't tell you what your role is. My role, I have known very strongly for 20 years, is to create what we're getting ready to do again called Nashville Chooses Peace. I believe that we need to have events like that to bring peoples together. Everybody's not going to come into a church that's all the same. People want to worship in the way they want to worship or do what they want to do, but everybody can come to an event that's about peace. I believe it's important. I believe it's time. I believe we're supposed to be doing things like that. I think we're supposed to be drawing all different kinds of people together so we can stand in a circle together and begin to go, oh, you're just like me. You may not look like me. You may not dress like me. You may not eat the foods I eat, but you're just like me. Know that you yourself are essential to this world. We said this last week. Say to yourself, I am essential to this world. Say it again. I am essential. Turn to somebody and tell them you are essential to this world. Can you hear that? If there's ever been a moment in time that I've wanted to light little fires up under booties, this is it. You. Yes, and you can point a finger. You are essential to this world. Because sometimes we forget. Anybody ended up in a pity party in the last few months? I have. And I can whine and be a victim with the best of them, but when I do that, I have forgotten I am essential to this world. I am wasting my time going, "Rrr." And you know what Grandmother Silverstar said to us this weekend? Cut it! Okay. Quit it. Because they believe the same thing we do. If I keep talking about it, I'm going to keep creating it over and over and over and over. You know what I think about is Stella that time when we asked her why she was crying, and she said, because I like to cry. Like, wow, isn't that special? But we do the same thing. Why are you so mad today? Because I just like to be mad. This thing is determined to jump off my ear today for some reason. Probably telling me something. Know that you yourself are essential to this world. And how do we learn that? Some of us are having to learn it now because we didn't learn it like this. We started out talking about singing lullabies to children. I don't know about you all, but my grandmother taught me that I was essential to this world. My parents did not. They taught me I was a lowly worm and a sinner and that I was going to hell. That's what the Church of Christ taught me. But my grandmother taught me I was essential to this world and I had special gifts and I needed to use them. What were you taught? And some of us have to reprogram ourselves. And so Michael is going to come up here and sing another song for us. And this one is particularly for us also. And I'm not even going to tell you about the message of this song because you will get it when he starts singing, and he may tell you a little bit about it.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen, and down the mountainside. The summer's gone, and all the leaves are falling. 'Tis you must go, and I must buy. But come ye back when summer's on the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. For I'll be here in sunlight or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I love you so. And come ye back when all the flowers are dying, and I am dead, as dead I well may be. You'll come and find the place where I'm lying, and kneel and say an Ave there for me. And I shall hear the soft you tread above me, and all my dreams will warm and sweeter be. If you'll not fail to tell me that you love me, and I will dream in peace until you come to me. But come ye back when summer's on the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. For I'll be in sunlight or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I love you so. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, I love you so.
Michael Elley's Danny Boy is essential to the planet. It's time for us to do our sacred walk of abundance, to have the opportunity to give back to our spiritual community. If you will take your tithes, offerings, gifts in your hand, and say the affirmation with me, please. I live in the midst of infinite abundance. I give freely and fearlessly to life, and life gives back to me. We'll go this way.
Many voices, one spirit, a new day is dawning. Can you feel it? Different choices we make, different roads we may take. We are many voices, one spirit, singing my song until the whole world hears it. Songs of peace and grace, songs of hope and faith, finding our common ground. We'll let the light shine through. We are many voices, one spirit, singing my song until the whole world hears it. Songs of peace and grace, songs of hope and faith, songs of love for all the human race. Voices, one spirit.
So we open our hands and our hearts and our minds, and we bless these tithes and offerings. And we bless our own point of divinity as we are fully planted on Mother Earth and we raise our eyes to the heavens and we pull our energy together into our heart space and respond and remember that I am essential to this world. Who I am is essential to this world. What I think and say and feel and do and be is essential to this world. And so it is. Amen.
I want to teach you a little Hindi. Are you ready? All right. So our guide had us do this every time we got on the bus. It goes like this. Jai Mata Di. Jai Mata Di. Are you ready? Jai Mata Di. 19-year-olds from Volunteer State Community College had no idea that they were honoring the divine feminine every time they got on the bus. Jai Mata Di. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Woo, test us. Now let's go. People all over the world join hands, start a love train, a love train. People all over the world join hands, start a love train, a love train. The next stop that we make, oh, it's gonna be England. And tell all the folks in Russia, China, and Venezuela too. Oh, please, you gotta get on board this train, 'cause you know we're